Greetings, our dear viewers. Welcome to yet another episode of the Youth Roundtable, where we discuss pertinent issues that are affecting the youth of the mighty Republic of Uganda. Today, we are in a very interesting week that hosts the International Youth Day that happens every 12th of August of every single year. The Youth Day was first celebrated in the year 2000, and it is marked all over the world with festivals, parties, with discussions. But for us, today we have chosen to mark it with a sober discussion on some of the issues that face the youth of Uganda, which is a largely youthful country. We know that 78% of Ugandans are youth. Today, we are discussing different issues that affect the young people, including labor issues in terms of productivity, in terms of employability. We're discussing issues around political freedom, expression. We're discussing several other factors and emerging factors that affect the youth. And with me is a very capable panel to break down some of these issues. And I'll start from the far right, where we have Mr. Nimrod Kakai from the National Resistance Movement Youth League. Nimrod, say some greetings to our viewers.
Thank you so much, our dear moderator. It's always a pleasure. It's always a very good feeling to come here and we have a very sober discussion, mostly on issues that concern our prosperity as a country. I'm so glad to be here today as well.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, viewers.
Yes, that's Nimrod. And then we have Mrs. here, Sayuni Helen from Uganda Young Democrats, where she serves as the vice president. You're most welcome, and it's glad to have such a powerful youth body here. I believe, arguably, the most powerful on the on the panel, though that could be debated.
Oh, thank you so much. I am glad to be here. Thank you for hosting us in commemoration of the National Youth Day. Yeah, this is our week, so I am glad to be here to be discussing issues pertaining the livelihood and well-being of the young people.
Yes, thank you very much. And finally, I have Mr. Kato Laban from Alliance for National Transformation, also a member of the Youth League. You're most welcome.
It's a great pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate the initiative taken by the Civic Space and Center for Constitutional Governance in terms of giving the young people opportunity to come and discuss issues.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're most welcome, Laban. And I think at the end of the show, I'll also give all of you a chance to tell us how your different youth leagues are preparing for the Youth Day. Yes, but I'd like to start with you, Laban. We have something that actually we're talking about before the show started, which is the issue around labor. So statistics say that 64% of Ugandans are still unemployed, but also we see the nature of education people are receiving. You finish school, the employers want 2 years experience, and most people don't have this. And then on the other side also, the attitude towards vocational skills, the quality of UPE. I think UPE is celebrating 23 years now, 22, 23 years. USE about 14 years. But the quality of teachers, the quality of even the quality of the schools in terms of food, and all of this bringing up a generation of Ugandans who are now struggling to work in a modern world. So what is your reflection on this issue about, the labor issues that we have among youth?
Yeah, of course, I will start by also connecting the International Day of the Youth, which I think it will be on Saturday.
Yes.
This week.
Yes.
Well, if you recall that in 1999, the UN passed the resolution to always celebrate the International Day of the Youth worldwide. And Uganda is one of those countries that always celebrates or commemorates the International Day. And it was in Uganda, it was first celebrated, I think, in the year 2000, as you have echoed before. But to me, I think that the International Day of Youth should not be just ceremonial as it is done today in Uganda. but it should involve different activities.
Mm.
Those activities should look at challenges that the youth in our country, not only in Uganda, but even in Africa, that face.
Yeah.
But also we should look at the opportunities that are available for the youth.
Mm.
We should look at the needs of the youth.
Yeah.
What are the concerns of the youth as we commemorate this day? Not just mere going to a certain district, how it would be, spend that huge budget on that day, where people come and start telling you, there's what we call chiganiro, the big man telling you chiganiro. That should be beyond that. Coming to your point of when you look at the labor for employment, education levels, whatever, when you look at the Uganda Labor Force Survey of 2021, shows that almost 22.5 million of the youth that are able, labor force, that are able to be employed. Out of that 22.5 million, only 10 million are engaged in productive work.
Productive employment.
So what does it mean? Even production. So what does it mean? That on such a day, it is about us, the young people, sitting. I'm happy that we have this discussion.
Yes.
That we can come and discuss issues. To look at what are the problems. Why is it that out of 22.5, only 10 are employed? We have to look, where are those people employed? Where are those who are not employed? How can we help the people? Because even you acknowledge that most of the people, even of the 10 million which are engaged in production, most of them even have not been supported.
Yes. Is it a case of, there's an issue of underemployment, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Because I think most of the time when we talk to our age mates or our fellow youth, they are displeased with their working conditions.
We have to look at the grounds or the platforms that are available for the youth to make sure that they engage in productive activities.
Yeah.
So to me, on the side of employment, it is the day that we have to do. Here you have, as we celebrate, I don't know, I'm not sure where we're going to celebrate the International Day. Kabale. Yeah, I think that's why I saw the chairperson of the National Youth Council calling for. I feel like it is the day that should help us to check ourselves as the youth leaders from the grassroots up to the top. Not only going to Kabale to ask when you reach in those days, the day where they are celebrating, the youth leaders from districts are fighting over allowances. That is what is in their mind. When the people are given a platform, some of them do not have a paper to present which shows the opportunities or challenges facing the youth, but they are just talking about the budget only. I'll get it. So it is an opportunity that the day as we celebrate, that we engage in different activities. We should engage in advocacy. So many youth, and there are so many youth who are rotting in those prisons that even they don't have people to help them on issues connected to politics. There are so many political prisoners in those prisons that they have never received judgment.
That's why DP has been dialoguing.
It is the issue which have come that side late of that side late of the relationship, whether it is mature or it is but we shall come later. So this is the issue that we have to. It is about organizing events that should benefit the youth. You can imagine the money. I'm telling you, more than 1 billion, or I think more than 800 million will be spent on organizing that event.
Which is the budget of the new budget of the National Youth Council.
Are you getting? that will be spent on that day, only that one.
Yes.
How much money can be given to young people to engage in production if you don't celebrate that day? You celebrate it in a different way without just not going. Are you together?
Yeah.
So it's a matter of looking at events that should shape or should empower the youth. Advocacy. This is the time that we have to come up and advocate. I did hear that the chairperson of the National Youth Council, Jacob Beru, saying if the budget is not increased, I listened to him very carefully.
Yes.
That if the budget is not increased, is going to mobilize the youth to boycott the celebration. I am waiting to see.
We still have 4 days.
Yes, I'm waiting him to see.
Yeah.
Like, I think that the celebration was postponed to some other date because I'm told there is the inauguration of there's some function taking place in the church. Yeah.
It was there, of course. I'm waiting to see if we will boycott, if the budget will be increased. But also, when you look at it is a matter of the youth also to come and on that day, as we celebrate the International Day of Youth, to come up and look at the policies, both economical, social, and political. What is there a platform for the young youth to engage in those three avenues?
But someone could argue that that's not the role of the youth. Like, we have to discuss policy, but the platforms, that if the platforms are lacking, it means there's a system that, is not facilitating it. So you cannot blame the youth for not having resources to engage, to discuss, to advocate, and all that.
No, but you can blame the youth leaders, because it's about, we have to fight for ourselves. We have to provide the platform for ourselves. We have to fight for the platform. So if we don't fight for our platform,
yes,
then we should blame ourselves.
So it's about the youth leaders as well.
Yes,
Okay.
It is about the youth leaders. Then when we go to the issue of education,
yes,
when I was listening to the budget framework paper that was presented to the parliament, that was, I think, early January of this year. When you look at the education sector, today, 8.8 million of young people are enrolled in primary school. When you go to secondary, I think it is around 833,000 that are enrolled in secondary school. That is high school and all that.
yes.
Then we look at 174,000 that are enrolled in institutions of learning. You look from primary, 8.8 million enrolled in primary. Then those who finish primary, it's not even a half, not even a quarter, I think.
Yes.
Then you have 170 that are enrolled in institutions of higher learning, that is universities and other international institutions. 170 currently, 170,000,
yes.
44,000.
Yes.
So it is, as we celebrate, it's a matter of asking ourselves, why is there that gap? What is the reason? Because for the youth to live in high standards of living, we cannot just forget the role of education.
Yes.
So it is a matter of asking ourselves, what is the role of the UPE? What is the role of universal secondary education? What is the role played by different scholarships? It is the day that we have to come out and advocate for the loan scheme for this year to be. I remember the parliament passed the resolution that the loan scheme board should advertise for this current academic year for students to be given those loan schemes. But what was there?
Yes.
the resolution of the cabinet. Up to now, we don't know the fate of those young people. So many young people that have been benefiting from the loan scheme. We don't know the fate.
I see.
Most of them, our brothers from Namisimba, will not be in Makeri, will not be in Chambo, will not be in Moves. Because the academic year is starting this month.
I see.
What is the role of the National Youth Council? If the parliament can pass a resolution and the Youth Council cannot come even with a statement demanding the cabinet to effectively implement the resolution of parliament, then we should ask ourselves, it is an advantage for us today
That's true.
to look at avenues that the youth can be employed in, not only production, but look at the talents. That this is the day, for example, the National Youth Council under the Secretary for Youth for Sports, that you can organize events where you spot talents to benefit the young people.
Yeah.
Rather than going to Kabale or Guru having an event of 800 million.
Yes.
And you are in Chiganiro telling us stories of the 60s.
Yeah. I want to bring in Helen, Comrade Helen. I want to pick from something he started on, which is the education. So we have a education system for Uganda, starting from primary up to university, and then you're supposed to be employed after that. But then, especially in the last generation, we have seen an influx of private schools, which has made education a little bit expensive. Not even a little bit. We know the price. You've all seen the jokes about having babies. Very expensive education. Sometimes nursery is 2 million. And so many of our citizenry is left with the option of universal education, which is UPE and USE. But still, at university level, all of these come together. Those who finally make it come together, and the training that we have in university is proving not compatible with the job market. So how can we work on some of these education issues that we face? But also, we should also recalling that girls have a stronger level of marginalization because of issues like menstrual poverty. Many girls, I toured Gulu, a few districts in northern Uganda, and a lot of these girls miss a year of school because of periods, something like this. So how can we improve the education for Ugandans, young people, but also how can we deal with some of the particular issues of girls?
Thank you so much, moderator, and thank you, dear colleagues, for making this an important show. I want to start by saying that the International Youth Day is a day worth talking about and even celebrating at some level, because we must appreciate the fact that it's our time and we are young people and we should celebrate the day.
Yes.
However, I disagree on how we must celebrate that day, because I believe that is the day that we should use to demand for accountability, to light a torch where there is darkness, and and provide some light on our leaders and say, look here, for ever since we celebrated it should be like our financial year, that we come to our leaders and tell them, look, since the other year we have not had this progressing so well. So what are you talking about it? Unfortunately, we don't use it for that case. We use it to go and gather somewhere, meet colleagues, and all that, and handshakes. And that is very unfortunate.
Yes.
We do not also have platforms where we ask our leaders for accountability. For example, our national youth MPs, they don't have who they give accountability to. We just vote them and they go to parliament. For example, I've never met my national youth MP. I've not even seen him on any function in Western Uganda per se about you telling them this and this is what we are doing. Save for that, we thank the budget that it puts some light for us that our people in parliament are not doing enough, because when I looked at Comrade Ayeru talking about the budget cut of the National Youth Council, I was like, wow, thank God it has happened. Now we know the kind of people we have in our parliament representing us, because how did it have to be cut up to that level, and we did not even have anything from a national youth leader talking about it. It had to be a year discovering also after some time.
Yes.
He didn't come on time also, you know. He did not come, you know, in those early days when they were still discussing. He came out when they had already passed the budget. What does that show? That we are not keen enough.
So it's not just a year to blame, but also
we are blaming the whole lot of our youth leaders. So we are saying that we are not keen enough to issues that pertain us as young people. Yes, some people say National Youth Council is not working, but that is a body that we have and we must embrace it. It is us young people down there that are actually supposed to help those people up there to produce some work, because I believe that we are the people down here, we are the roots, the other ones are flowers. They're up there, so we must help them to shine. We must, you know, tap in water, tap in the minerals from the soil, and help those flowers of ours to flourish. But I believe also that we are not doing enough, maybe in terms of helping them, you know, do their work. So I want to say that we, as young people, must use that day to reflect on what we believe should be done better.
Yes.
See what is being done better, and also see where we lack, so that we put a light there, so that we show the government that yes, young people in this country are awake. Sometimes I want to think that the government also knows that we are really sleeping at some point. Yes, because by the time you pass a budget you cut the budget up to 800 million.
Yes.
That is the budget of government's officials, the gifts to Kwanjura. You are giving that budget to a whole National Youth Council to do activities in the whole country. I believe that we deserve better, and we deserve even more than the government can give to any sector, because we are the majority and we are the people that are being used here and there. When you look at, I want to give an example, like when you look at the issues that have been happening, for example, in FDC.
Yes, yes.
It is the young people that were closing the gate, opening the gate, you know, pointing at this. But now, what about our productivity? That should be the question. And maybe to come to your question about the education sector, we have a lot of challenges within that education sector. You know, we have a state minister of I think secondary, yeah, who is supposed to be planning for these schools, but you know, he has over how many, I don't know, private schools. How do you expect him not promote privatization when he has the private schools, and you know, come down and support the growth of the universal secondary education of government schools? We must be serious and you know, put things that are well deserving in institutions. That is where I want to say that we've not been careful with appointing authorities that can help in revamping these institutions and the education sector. The Minister of Education, I don't know when I last heard her say anything about the education sector. It seems it is very sleeping. It is just taking itself on. And when you look at statistics, the government schools are not really performing well. Yet, majority of the Ugandans, the average Ugandan can only afford taking a child in the government schools. But then the government schools are not performing well, better to the standard. And of course, that goes to the systems that we have in the country. You look at the systems and you're like, they're not maybe prioritizing the education sector in terms of improving the government schools, USE, UECE, because most of the people have indulged in private sector, private schools. Our MPs, you know, all their children are in private schools. So at some point you find that the government schools may not be their priority, because...
So you think the people in decision-making positions are not relating with...
Exactly, they are not relating. And you know that when you're not relating to what is happening, it's always hard to deal with the situation. You must be able to relate. For example, me, I can easily relate because I studied from a universal primary education, went to a USE, so I can easily relate to the situations there.
Are you a success of this?
I am really not complaining about it, but I'm complaining now that it is really becoming a real problem that we must deal with.
Yes.
We must look at the person down there. We are facilitating too much of the top than the bottom. We must go back down and facilitate the bottom for schools to flourish.
Yes.
There are things that we must look at. For example, the health of the girl children in schools, in these primary schools.
Yes, yes.
The waters in the schools, you find they're not clean enough. Some schools are not built well. The health of our young people is really at a risk. Because as a girl child, when I'm in school, there is some privacy that I need. For example, when I'm in that time, I'll need at some point to go out and rest and change my well-being, my wellness. So you find that we do not have such services in schools, and young girls end up dropping out. We end up having early child marriages, early pregnancies, because we have a lot of promises here and there promising us for our well-being. So we must look at certain issues for it to develop that education, and that's why we have. I think also that's why we have many youth indulging in the informal sector, of which I'm not saying that the informal sector is also bad, but the informal sector is also becoming not easy to really thrive on. For example, I pity the young people that for example, border riders. The roads are bad. At the end of it all, you're going to be riding somebody, you jump in a pothole, the person gets an accident, you will sell the motorcycle trying to treat the person. So there are a lot of challenges that we are facing here and there as young people. We are likely not even have where to run to if we are not keen enough to point to the government that this is exactly what we want.
Yes. Because
where we would run to in the informal sector is really also not good. Where we would go to the formal sector, the corruption and the recruitment systems are really so bad. You go, you've just finished university, they want experience of 5 years. You wonder where the school of experience is. So we have a lot of challenges here and there as young people that are really affecting us and are pressing us, that we must look at them and use this day of International Youth Day to reflect on them and light a torch and say this is where the government should focus and give us some light as young people. And we need a platform for that. That we must appreciate, that we need to look for a platform through which we shall put our things on table. And I don't believe we should wait for a platform, because nobody is going to put a platform there and tell you, Helen, come and tell me what the UID people want. We must by all means look for places where we shall go and talk about these things, irrespective of where and when, until these people can listen and say, look, the young people are actually alive, active, and are seeing these things. Otherwise, the system maybe thinks that we are sleeping and we're not even seeing them, and they are not even going to mind about them.
Why do you think, and Laban also started with this, but why do you think we have leaders who we vote and cannot do anything? Is it because the elections are monetized? Is it why are we voting young leaders? Men are capable. Like many of us here are very capable, but when we stand and we go on the other side, it's like they lose capacity.
One of the problems that we have is that our electoral processes towards voting and choosing our leaders is not really very well upright. We, as UID, hope to present to the Ministry of Justice a paper on what we think electoral reforms should look like, so that we can get some streamlined and well-put leaders. For example, you find that from village level up to National Youth Council, that whole youth council is a little bit patronized. To go through even at village level, the question will always be whose son you are, whose daughter you are, instead of what are you capable of doing.
And you have forgotten the party.
And I don't want to really press so much about the party, because last time we had a leader who went up to national and he was not an NRM person,
But how many the percentage? What is the percentage?
He got out.
What is the
percentage is very limited, but we must appreciate that
because it is on record.
It's on record, but I'm giving you an example that in the last election, we had someone from Ant who went up to national level, and he failed at national level, not because of anything, but because it was something that we all
It is on record that it never came.
So
as ANT.
I am saying we must work within the processes that guide us to look for our national leaders. Some are actually, I will say it open, some are not they are not deserving to be in those positions, and that's why they don't perform.
I wanted to add on her point. There's somewhere she talked about the ladies looking at the ladies who are employed, the young people who are female who are employed. Just add on that. That Mr. Moderator and colleagues here, issues of gender equality in this country, as young people, should be at the forefront. We have to discuss issues of gender equality in this country and income inequality.
Yes.
Among the young people and the other bracket age. But also when she talked about the issues of the young female, I felt so attached. Recently, I was at the Entebbe airport.
Yes.
When I looked at thousands of young people going to Arab countries, young girls,
Especially girls, of course.
young girls going to Arab countries, I felt so touched that some of them, as they are going this midnight, towards midnight, it's just prayers that some of them may come back. Some of them may come back when they are young. So as we celebrate this day, it is all about looking at the policies included in labor externalization. Look at that. Does Uganda surely deserve that? What can we do? As we talk today, so many Ugandans, so many Africans, young people, ladies,
Comrade Laba,
are trying
that's
to
why
cross
I
Mediterranean Sea.
That's why I said we must use that day to reflect.
Yes, I am
what is
adding,
going
of course.
well
I do
and
agree
what
with
is
you.
not going well.
Generally, I do agree with
Yes.
you. As we try, as we look today, so many young people are trying to cross Mediterranean Sea, other oceans, to connect to Europe and South America. Some of them are dying in those oceans. It is about us asking, and what should be done? What kind of advocacy should we look into? It is our time to look at the youth participation in terms of in governance in this country. That you have a cabinet that don't have even more than 2 ministers of state but this is where the policy are implemented. But you have a cabinet that some of them do not have the youth.
They don't actually.
I
think
but here,
the youngest is
in
38.
Uganda, the biggest population are youth. So it is about looking at what is the participation of the youth in governance. How are we practicing to make sure that we achieve democracy in this country? So it's about that.
Thank
I
you.
wanted to add that.
I just wanted to conclude.
Maybe
so
what
that I
I've
bring it
gotten
on.
from his submission is that all the problems that we have seems to be rotating around governance.
Yes.
So we must do something in terms
Of course, governance,
putting governance right.
Very crucial. As long as you have a bad governance, from the top, trust me, systems will never be respected. You will not have democracy. Because we should agree that the governance of any country, the growth and the economic development of any country will always depend on the governance of that state. As long as you have a bad state, whether you have more qualified labor force, whether you have a lot of resources, mineral resources, as long as you have a bad governance. So in African countries, where there is a lot of resources, but because of bad governance in those states,
we do not benefit from them.
The youth do not benefit.
I would like to bring in my brother Nimrod. Sometimes you'll forgive us for our tone because you're the incumbents, but incumbency comes with a responsibility as well. And on this panel, you happen to belong to the party that is in charge of the governance of Uganda. Sometimes people, of course, they have a duty to check government, which is a service. But sometimes there are things government does that may not be appreciated. Then the opportunities government rolls out that are not taken up. Do you think there are things that are already there or that the government is implementing? Because this International Youth Day is special because it's in the middle of the term. It's minimum politics and it's about service delivery. What are some of those things that are there within the government or in the government plans that the youth should take up strongly to improve themselves? Yeah.
Thank you. It is very interesting to listen to comrades here. I listen very attentively.
Yes.
And you see, It's a very special day and it's a very special year for these international celebrations. I've enjoyed comrades here, trying to blame on a number of things that I will try to answer a few of them, and others we ignore because really they don't deserve the answers. But getting back to International Youth Day, you see, I don't want to go in the history of that day. He gave snippet of it.
Yes.
But what is special is that in 2001, the same year the first International Youth Day was celebrated, this government, the ruling government, is also the same year it adopted the National Youth Policy. The National Youth Policy that has gave birth to a number of programs, enormous programs, that have intended to promote youth as a special interest group. It's only this government in the history of this country that has been able to provide a number of platforms and to give a serious affirmative actions on youth. If time allows us, I'll give you a background of how different governments treated the young people.
So are the
But
platforms independent?
I gave you time to speak whatever you wanted. So
Let him
kindly
proceed.
protect me.
Yes.
Thank you. In 1980, when the UPC government came back in power, the Uganda National Youth Union by then was later abolished by the UPC government for reasons that because it was advocating things they think the government was not contented with because of the voices they were raising. But from 2000, since this government took over the leadership and the citizens gave us a mandate, they have given a chance to young people to do whatever they think is the best for them to thrive. Getting back to where you're asking, has this government done things in line of supporting the young people? Definitely yes. And is this day worth celebrating? Definitely yes. Why? Since 2000, this government started with the Uganda Youth Livelihood Program, the Uganda Youth Livelihood Fund. Over $17 million was released in that regard. And on record, research shows that this government, only that period that it was active, it employed over 270,000 young people. And agriculture took around 49% of that in terms of employment. Yes, the challenges were there because young people were not willing to pay back and all kind of things.
The money was stolen.
Of course, the questions were stolen by who? It was
By young people?
By the young people.
No.
You see, I will give you a practical example. In Mukono and Kampala, you see, I love to engage with statistics.
Yes.
In Mukono and Kampala, only there is around $7 million. And only the collection percentage the money was recovered, was around 1.7 billion in a period of 5 years. And the research is clear that young people, one, they invested in wrong ventures. Some, they could not recover the money.
Some married second wives.
Two, some used the money wrongly and ventured into other activities that are not productive. Even others just decided to say this is a package from government and it's not a problem to give it back. Now, that's just one of them. Two, it has created a number of spaces for the young people to express themselves. The Uganda National Youth Council, the youth members of parliament, different youth leagues are there, out there. All these are spaces for the young people to get organized, to come out. When you look at different programs, the wealth creation programs of this country, starting from Emyoga, Monabagagawale, coming to PDM, all these programs are intending to help the young people.
Yes.
The president of this country, so passionate about young people, went ahead to establish the presidential skilling hubs. That you know that this country, all of us are aware that we have over 21 in operation. These hubs are saying, Banabatasoma is Uganda, those who didn't go to school, they should not be left out in wealth creation. Not cadres, because the president or the NRM doesn't decide who joins those. They are open. And the other week I was in Buked region. Last week I was in Teso region, and I visited the presidential skilling hub of Buked in Palisa. It has the capacity to recruit 600 per cohort. And now the challenge is there that the leaders, the young people have not mobilized the young people. They only have 150. They are training now. And they have a bigger capacity than that. And the question is, the people are not enrolled there. And when I reached Katakwi, engaging the young people, they don't know about these things. So realize that the challenge is that as also young people who are leaders, who have a very serious responsibility to support government in things that support the young people. So the question of, has the government done what it's supposed to do? Yeah, to me, to the great extent. The government has definitely done a number of things to support the young people. It is now the role of the young people to choose on what you think it is important. Let me give you a current example. 85% of the students in this country have received the PDM money. 85% of the districts in this country have received PDM first release. In those circles, at least 2 young people have received the money at worst. In those circles.
Are you following what is on the ground or the paperwork?
No. I'm speaking, I can even give you facts from Namisi or from anywhere that I have clear facts.
You are speaking from the paperwork.
Not, you see.
Yeah, let's allow him to. We will have.
You can note down.
We'll have a debate on production in the second segment. But yeah.
So, I'm saying that 2%, at least 2 young people in those circles in parishes have received the money. The challenge at hand now the government is having is that now the same people who have got the money are misusing the money already. I got 1 million shillings and not making use of it now. So facts are clear that the same young people who are struggling to get help from government, they're taking the money and misusing it. Now now you know our role now as a league, as a government, we are now going to get to struggle to give financial literacy, to train them. Please, you have received the money, beg them to make good use of money. World over, I recently wrote an article, and it is public. There's no government that is the biggest employee. This country, or the biggest employer, sorry. This country must be proud in the number of the resource that we have as young people. Of course, some statisticians have told us that we are the fast growing population. Even others has ranked us that we have around 75% of the young people. This is something that should give us proud. When this government came in power in 86, we had only around 3 million young people. Today we are proud that we are over 20 million young people. This is a resource at hand. But how do we turn this resource into productivity and wealth creation? Now that's the debate I would love us to, as we celebrate this day of the young people, or this month of the young people.
Comrade Nimrod, I would like to just hold that thought. We're going to go into a brief break, then we'll start from that exact spot. Yeah, thank you very much, our dear viewers. Stick with us on this very engaging debate. The second segment, we'll be discussing productivity and deliberating on a way forward, because clearly we need to solve some of these problems moving forward, and it has been a good segment so far. And stick with us as we proceed here on the Youth Roundtable. Thank you.
Digital rights are those human rights and legal rights that allow individuals to access, use, create and publish digital media, or to access and use computers, other electronic devices and telecommunication networks. Digital rights include a right to freedom of expression, information and communication through technology, a right to privacy and data protection, a right to credit for personal works, a right to universal and equal digital access, a right to identity, a right to anonymity, a right to be forgotten, and a right for protection of minors, among others. The state's digital rights are frequently violated through various unfair actions, for example, blockage of websites and social networks, theft of credentials, unauthorized use of people's data for personal gain, privacy intrusion, online censorship, arrests and intimidation of online users, internet blockages, and the proliferation of laws and regulations that undermine the potential of technology to drive social, economic, and political development worldwide. It is hence every citizen's responsibility to respect rights of other digital users and to speak out or report to the responsible parties when one's rights are violated.
Welcome back to another segment of the Youth Roundtable. Today we are discussing, once again, the International Youth Day, which will be celebrated on 12th August, as it is every year since 2000. And today we are asking ourselves the question, is that call worth celebrating? And to discuss with me on deliberate on different issues affecting the youth is my very capable panel here. And we have been joined by Hope Katshabe of TASA Girls Empowerment Center. You're most welcome.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Yes, and we would like to pick from you, Nimrod. We're talking about issues dealing with productivity, and you stated some of the things that government has done and all this, but two issues always arise, especially when we have this youth discussion. One is that the design of the programs favors reward over merit or societal structures which are already existing. So when, for example, funds go to cadres or as a reward system for some of these people, it never fulfills its mission. So that's one of the issues that we have with some of the programs that have been coming out over time. So what do you have to say about that?
All right, thank you. You see, it is also interesting that there's a lot of propaganda that we enjoy listening to. You know, those are very sweet words to listen. You know, there is reward to cadres than merit. All these are propaganda. Why? Just to answer your question.
Yes.
For example, a circle at a village level, it is supervised by a chief, parish chief. Parish chief is not supposed to be a cadre. These are people that are appointed by public service. Two, there is nowhere in this country that you colleagues can challenge me that you will say, for you to qualify to belong to a particular circle, you must present an NRM card. It is never there. It is not a prerequisite for you to join a circle. This circle says, as long as you're a citizen, you belong to this parish, you have a national ID. I remember those things I presented to belong to a circle. They never see me of my political party status. So these are things that we should avoid. It is very wrong, and it's not only among the elites, even the youth in the informal sector there. They think that for you to benefit from government, you must belong to the party. It is an extremely wrong idea. And that's the same reason that for you to go to presidential skilling hubs, there is some colleagues in opposition moving that propaganda that we are going there. You must be NRM to be recruited in these hubs. It's extremely wrong.
Inform me this, Comrade Nimrod. You continue thinking that it is the opposition that spread the propaganda, but it's not. It is actually 90% of the NRM people that will come and tell you, come and benefit from the NRM things. Come and you know, at the end of it all, when it's here and a UID person who has gone for PDM, they say, you see, he has picked NRM money. And that is how we, the people, end up losing it at. Because we misinform the public. We misinform the public, and the NRM has failed at one thing: differentiating itself from the government.
You see, let me help them.
Yes, please reply.
You see, the point is people should understand that a political party, when it's formed, it has mobilized and taken over leadership. Its role is to form government. And after forming government, is to sustain leadership. When the people are going to vote on that ballot paper, there's always a symbol of a political party. And there's a reason why they tick the bus. They know that they're voting NRM what? So if leaders of NRM tell you that please come and benefit from the government. Now, for example, the NRM is the custodian of the manifesto that this government is implementing. 70% of our manifesto is pro-PDM. And we tell every single NRM leader, all our structures, you know, we are very lucky that we have structures in every single village of this country. We tell them, please, it is your role to mobilize the Wananchi to make sure that they benefit from this government that the NRM government has brought. But away from those diversions, the matter is we must check the productivity of the young people. As much as we are lucky to have this big labor force, the government, where I think we should now focus on, is as the government giving the right skills that are required in the market for the young people to be extremely productive. I was saying that world over, there is no government that is the biggest employer. Young people, I mean, the employment sector is for private sectors and with the young people. It lies on our shoulders to create jobs. The young people have a very big role to play in terms of creating sustainable employment opportunities. Just giving an example.
But there should be policies that favor.
Just to give you an example, we are very robust, strong, and energetic young population. When you are talking about opportunities, what are we doing as young people? To me, these are just 4 areas. I'll go through very quick that I think young people should engage in. One, advocacy of policies that favor us, the young people. We have representation from village level, through National Council, to the Parliament of Uganda. It is even shocking that they have no idea that there are people who are young and in the cabinet. I'll go into that later. But these structures must inform policies of this country that favors the young people.
Yes.
The question is, how far are we demanding our members of parliament that this is what we want you to talk about? I mean, I've never seen a press conference or a paper framework or document that is going to tell and demand that before you bring to us the PDM, as young people, our position is that we need 70% of it because we are 70% in the population. You get? Secondly, we must extremely be innovative and identify gaps in the market and identify innovations that will create employment. Let me give an example. Uganda is 70% or 60% agriculture. The problem of market for our product is extremely high. As I was in Teso, I realized that there's a lot of cassava there and farmers don't have market. Young people who have gone to school from Teso, what could be their role, in my thinking, is to go and look for market. And how do you do this? Uganda now have at least internet penetration in this country. Imagine a whereby a young man like Ola goes ahead and creates a software or an application that will connect both the farmers and people who are in the market. These are things that are in other countries. That if I want to purchase millet from Kitigum, I don't need to go to Kitigum. When I'm in Kampala, I'll need is to go to an application, tap on the farmer, and order for my millet, and it will be delivered in Kampala. You know how many jobs we are creating there. Now, those are about innovations. It's a role of young people to be highly innovative. The government role is to create the environment, which we have done. Uganda is extremely peaceful from border to border. Infrastructure development is there. The electricity penetration is there. All we need to do is now to make use of the infrastructure development that the government has created. Thirdly, as I conclude, young people must stand out and acquire the skills in these training centers. The training centers all over the country, in the tertiary institutions, in institutes, in presidential training hubs, we must go there and get the skills. The problem, now the research indicates that the market, the problem is that, for example, young people are not doing the research to understand which skills are required in the market. At least 20% of graduates are not employable. You cannot employ, yes, they have a bachelor's degree, but you cannot employ them because the skills they have is not relevant. Now, it is back to us as the young people. How far do we go in the research? Why should you young people in this information world go and do a bachelor's degree that is not outdated, that you think the skills are not important, things that you can read about? Yes, I must judge the government has to advise, but it is also your role as an individual to go ahead and research.
Why should the government allow schools to teach?
And you know that what you're going to study is what is required in the manufacture world or in industries.
Yes.
How does
Lastly,
I'm going to give it.
Lastly,
that you're in.
they will
You're allowing
interject.
these courses
Yes.
to be taught, and
Finalize,
then you come and
finalize.
say that.
Lastly,
Comrade Helen,
it is
you're going to interject.
lastly, on the role of what young people should do. Young people should be the center of information. As youth leaders, it is important that we disbat information of what government is doing, trying to do for the young people in this country. It is wrong. Now, let me give you an example. Around 17 billion were released for some around 80 districts in Western Uganda under the Youth Livelihood Fund. Now the information is that over 800 million in some districts are still there on accounts, quiet. The young people have not looked for that money. They have not applied for them. They are not organized. And leaders, I don't know what they are doing of the young people. It is the role of the young people, and mostly the leaders of the young people, to go and help the young people and give them the right information. It is wrong for the leaders to continue castigating and blaming when there are things that are productive the government is doing. I mean, PDM is there. When these young people receive the money, what is the role of the leader? Is to tell them, don't misuse, the money. The government has done its part to empower you, make sure that you use the money correctly. So I think as we celebrate the National Youth Day, it is important that we appreciate where this country has been in issues of the young people. We appreciate our population and our labor force, but importantly that we sit at the center of a discussion that government should now focus next year on this and that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Comrade Helen, you had something to say? Then I'll get. And
I
then
wanted
we'll
to
bring
tap
hope.
in. You know, you said you'd tell us the young people that are in cabinet. I'm still waiting.
The young leaders, the leaders, the youth leaders.
So I am waiting for
who
you
are
to
in the
name
cabinet.
I didn't say the youth leaders.
You said the young people.
I
in
said
the
young people, I didn't say
cabinet.
youth leaders.
But I said the
waiting
youth
for the
leaders who are
young
cabinet.
people. I want
Yes,
to
you
know
had
the
something to say. When
I want
you
to know the definition of young people and the young people in cabinet from him. Maybe I wanted to also say that another thing that the NRM government has succeeded in doing to keep the young people standing is the issue of information flow. You see the kind of information he has about government programs? Go down in my village in Ibaskyo, Ruchiga, and find out how many youth leaders have this information. They call these people national. Take them in a hall, tell them, you know, this government program has come, this and this is there, but who are they telling? A bunch of 5 younger leaders who are on an NRM ticket, youth district leaders, son of the former MP of NRM on NRM ticket, daughter of former MP. So you find the information is in the same circle. It does not go to where, and yet this money is supposed to benefit the average Ugandan, the average young person on the ground down there. The training is taken to the district. But at the district, how many people can afford even transport to go there? You find the money that you've disbanded is money for the people that are struggling. But the people that are struggling, you're giving them alternatives or even the system to access the money is very hard. To access money for PDM, some people required to open accounts in Stanbic Bank. Do you know how many Stanbic Bank branches do we have in Kabale district? Kabale Ruchiga? It is one. Transport to go to open that bank account. How many young people have it in the ground down there?
So it should be made easier to access.
You make the system, but again make it very hard that it is your own people who are going to access that very system.
But you know, NRM is the mass party.
It is a mass party, but
so it might also be just an issue that they're the most.
It is
and therefore,
it is
most people come.
It is a mass party on a paper. A mass party on a paper. But my friend, if you go down here,
I didn't know that Helen loves making jokes until today. She loves making telling us that it's a mass
Helen, it was an interjection, so please.
I also want
Yes,
also
an
to
interjection,
interject
then we bring-
on Nimrod. You see, when this one says about information, you see, information is a fundamental right, not a privilege. We should agree.
Definitely.
When you talked about the issues of Simanye students doing courses, they should look for information. Let me tell you, this country, we have to look at the quality of it. It is the role of the government and the mandate of the government to make sure that the young people of this country receive quality education. It is the mandate, which we should agree. Let me give you an example. I have 2 universities I benchmarked. And I opened it. It's not because I want to destroy the name of the university, but because I want to help the young people, which you are not aware of. Recently, the students of medical students from King Caesar University, which used to be St. Augustine University, were denied entry to go. Were denied from being on the list to go for medical intern.
Why?
Which I will come later. Do you know the people, the chairperson of the University Council of King Caesar is the information minister, Dr. Chris Bariomus. We have the deputy speaker of parliament is a member of the council. We have the almost the old, I should say the owner is the ambassador I think the special envoy of Vietnam to Uganda, His Excellency Murenga. But the students, over 50 students were denied entry. Their fate, no one knows today. But here is the government that will allow such university, because the issue was between the Uganda medical and dental practitioner, and it wasn't about even the Minister of Health. But these are young people at night. No one knows now their fate. They are just there seated after completing 5 years. Are you getting? And it is the role of the university, of the government, to make sure that young people receive quality education. At Metropolitan International University, I benchmarked, I discovered that BCom is taught there. Students graduate. But when you go to the website of the National
Council
for Education, they have never mandated that university to teach Bachelor of Commerce.
Thank you.
I get it.
Just to answer,
but these are universities, high institutions of learning. If I say wait, I finish. So many. They are there exploiting young people.
But Makeri also had expired courses.
No, I am not talking about expired courses.
Yes, please.
I am talking about accrediting that they have never given you, even if provision.
So how is information supposed to flow ideally?
It is the duty
of the
government through Ministry of Education to set up
what
systems.
What is the ministry doing? The Ministry of Education.
To set up systems. That, for example, in Uganda, Uganda is a country where you wake up, you start an institution,
but you know that it's
that
a
even
reality.
you start operating
What he's talking
without
about.
knowing,
I want to give
following the guidelines. How do you wake up in a country that has good governance, as he says, that has systems? You teach young people.
Not as I say, the way it is.
I get it. People continue studying, wasting their time studying courses that are never accredited. They have never been licensed by those universities to teach them. I get it. So it is because we should agree, as I say, as young people, we are here together, putting our political affiliation aside. Don't defend things that you know are wrong in reality.
Of course, now you see, you brought the argument. Allow me to give an answer.
Please, in a minute, we want to bring on.
No, but what I was saying,
it's okay,
we should advocate for the quality of education in this country. When you come and you talk about that we have quality education here,
I didn't say. Thank you. I didn't want. I want to our viewers. We should do service to the people, mostly the young people who spare their data to watch this show. It is important that when we are giving these statistics, I love it that now he's giving me statistics. The role of the National Council of Higher Education is to accredit. One of them is to accredit these courses. If an institute goes ahead and breaches and goes ahead to teach, and a student goes ahead to sit and do that course, as long as you want to blame the government has not accredited that course. There are a number of organs that support students from the National Students Association that has a mandate also to inform students. They have a representative of National Council to inform the country that please, these courses are not accredited in this particular institution. And also it's important that as students, when we are going to enroll, it is just obvious that we should know is the course.
No.
I just wanted. No, there is some statement he has made which is wrong, which I want to inform you. I want to inform you. Please, I am asking.
Because if we wanted to be alone, maybe we would also choose the.
No, not for asking. I wanted to give him some information.
No.
Just 1 minute.
No.
1 minute.
Comrade.
No, I am requesting for 1 minute.
Please
he
hold
said
it.
There is
Hold it.
I feel like I should give. He has said that HUNSA has a representative on the National Council. It is, I know, as per the law, it should. Recently, when the COSAS committee in the parliament presented a report, it was discovered, by the way, in most of those where HUNSA is supposed to send a representative, they spend 2 years without having those representatives. Are you getting? I will get it. They said most of those who are representatives, some of them even are no longer students. They go there for loan. But now on loan board, the board for loan scheme, it was discovered that students are supposed to have a representative as per the law, but they have never had. So that is the system that a government you can
Let's
have.
allow Comrade.
Are you getting? I'm
so
sorry.
in a minute.
As I
In a
say
minute.
that, yeah, that is important that our viewers enjoy this show with some information. He also appreciates it that as by law. Now, who do you blame when the representative is not sent? The council. Right now, I know that Achemo Sarah is the female affairs representative on the National Council. I know she's doing some work in advocating about courses that are accredited. But the same organ that has a very serious budget to do publicity. The government, what I'm saying that what the government does is creating an environment. The government has created an environment that you'll have Uganda National Students Association, you'll have the National Youth Council, you'll have the youth members of parliament, you'll have all these organs to help and advocate and speak for the young people. Now, when the organs are trying to be shamble in their work, I don't think it is now high time that we put the whole blame on what?
Yes.
On government. When a course is not accredited and is being taught, it's not right that the whole government has done a favor that they have not accredited that course. One, these people who do these are citizens. It is also part of humanity that we give citizens, those students, what they deserve. If a university has gone ahead to do such a wrong thing, our students, leaders in that particular university should rise up and speak up. Why should they wait for these things to happen over and over? And the government will first now come in. Then, of course, it has a lot of work it does. And it's unfortunate that you're not seeing that. But as I conclude,
yes,
when it comes to education, yes, I know there are a lot of things to check.
Yeah.
But also we should thank government that this financial year, it has added around over 100 billion in UPE and use. This money is going to ensure that as much as we have now achieved some qualitative enrollment, now we want to focus on the qualitative enrollment, that at least we now need some quality in these universal schools.
Thank you. And I'd like to bring you hope. So we've been discussing in the first segment and now, and it seems, of course, my two colleagues here come from opposition, youth leagues, and their job is which is a service, a government service. Opposition is a service opposition is a service to government, which is supposed to check and awaken them. And I know much as Nimrod may look like a hardliner, as much as Nimrod might look like a hardliner, he'll pick some points because he resonates with us. But on the other side of government, there seems to be, a perception that they're doing more than enough, or they're doing enough to a greater extent, to quote Nimrod. So it appears so far from the discussion that there's an issue of design, because we actually still do have issues affecting youth, but we also have a government that feels it's performing to a greater extent. So how do we move ahead with this sort of conundrum that is coming out?
I want to first thank Comrade Nimrod for defending his government and defending his party he's supporting. But
no, I also want to make it clear, I don't defend the government. One, I'm not the spokesperson. Two, I speak what is right.
Yes, no one has denied that you're speaking what is right. But I'm going to speak. I'm going to speak like a person who is on the ground.
Yes.
Because the work I do and the work we do not sit.
Also, for our dear viewers, you could introduce.
Good morning, dear viewers. Hope Kachave is my name, and I'm the team leader at TASA Girls Empowerment Center, an initiative that works with adolescent girls and teenage mothers to reinstate them back in schools and keep them back in schools.
Okay.
Yeah. When you reach the grounds, you're going to really identify and you're going to find out that the government is completely doing nothing. Whatever they're doing is left in the space hanging. Like the model they're using is not informed by the reality that people are facing. For them, they're lied by what, this, like the way Comrade is portraying it, it's going to be taken like, yes, that is how it is. But who has the mandate to go to the ground and find out what is the youth down there in Katosi doing? What is the youth down there in Chankwanzi doing? How should we get them on board? As long as these a few, the selected ones, they see them shine, they will feel like they're covering the entire country and they feel like everything is moving the way it's supposed to do. Yes, we accredit the government. It has brought on programs that are targeting the youth. But the question remains, why hasn't it achieved its goal? And every day they keep on advancing, without even finding the reason as to why the first one failed. And then they say, now I think now this one is not working. Let's try to bring out this one. But without identifying why it is not really working. When you reach to the ground, people are doing completely different things. So I think if we really want to achieve all the government programs, we should focus on the mindset change.
So do you think, for example, let's use PDM or Youth Life, PDM, where youth are supposed to get 30%, if I'm not mistaken. Do you think that there has to be, for example, capacity training? Do you think, for example, capacity training is more important than even the loans? For example, mindset training and all this.
Actually, I don't think that the youth even need the loans. The youth need the mindset change. Because the youth are rich. We are energetic. We have resources. We have idle land. If you reach there in those villages, you're going to find a huge chunk of land, very idle, doing nothing. But then the youth are there seated, playing their ludos, saying that the government has not really helped us. Even if you give them this money, they're going to go invest the money and eat it. Some are not even going to get the money themselves. It is for God and my stomach, where the situation has reached. But if we have a mindset change, before you implement anything, first have these people put together, consolidate their mind, put them focus on what they're supposed to do as a whole. But what is killing us, we have chosen to be partisan than being a united force that is trying to elevate the youth. The NRM youth are trying to shine. They are trying to show their leader or their supreme that, yes, we are the most supreme branch of the youth that you have.
Organized. Which is not wrong.
I don't think that
I think every political party has a duty to...
I know every political party has a duty to really fish. I'll call it fishing. But as the youth leaders, how long are we going to continue being used in a partisan way? How long are we going to take before we realize that we need to be a united force? Now imagine if my comrade Nimrod, Helen and Kato, they are all from different parties. But think of a situation where they put all their party aside and they are now working for elevating the youth. Whatever difference we have. But we have failed to come to that point of conclusion in life. If a DP person comes and stands, he wants to make sure that, yes, DP, we are the most organized people, we are the rest are not organized.
This is a fact.
NRM is going to do the same. FDC is going to do the same. So we have chosen to be partisan. We are fighting ourselves in terms of parties than fighting to see that we are elevating as a whole. Because we cannot operate in isolation. We need each other. But the day we shall put our political differences aside as youth leaders and we focus on seeing that how is the youth down there, whether you're supporting NRM, whether you're supporting DP, whether you're supporting NUP, whatever party you are, does not concern us, but your welfare concerns us. That's how we are going to achieve all that the government is planning for the youth. But you bring a program, the NRM youth leader is going to make sure that he's recruiting people who subscribe to that party. Yeah? If it lands, will it even ever land to the hands of the DP or the hands
They
of...
can now,
Will
since
it?
they are in a relationship.
But now, since they have a marriage, I think that they can now have a portion or have a little.
They are going to deploy some of them.
A slight say, but nevertheless,
yes,
all these programs, none of them is going to achieve its objectives and goals if they do not first have a mindset change.
All right.
Get these people. Stop sitting. Okay, now we are here. We are seated in lights. Imagine a situation if we had this discussion on the grassroots where we have these exact people who we are targeting. the views that you would get. The day they will stop sitting in their SCs to discuss issues about the youth is the day that we shall see a very good work being done. But they sit, they discuss their issues, and they think that that is it all.
Yes.
And they going to implement things that people are not part of. If by the time you plan these programs, you engage, it becomes a bottom top approach. Trust me, even if you bring just one hen like this and you give it to them, it's going to multiply in no time. But for them, it's a top-bottom approach they are using, which is not going to achieve anything when it comes to the issues of the youth.
Yeah, thank you very much, Hope. And I want us to move a bit to the issues of political design. So we cannot run away from politics. Politics is how we negotiate, it's how we organize ourselves. And so far, we identifying with parties that are not made by our generation. You know, we defend them, we stand up, and fight for them. But what is our cause? Because from what I read from us, it's like we have the same aspirations. Now, we have an election roadmap that was released this week. We are going into another election. Now, NRM had the movement system, which had everyone involved. And up to now, I believe it still exists in the NRM constitution, that anybody without a party belongs to the movement.
Which is debatable.
Yes. Now, I want to bring it from this perspective, especially of the FDC, DP, UPC. UPC, we saw it merging with NRM, as well as DP. Yeah, which is not necessarily a bad thing.
Excuse me, we did not merge, we are cooperating.
You're cooperating.
Yes.
Which is not necessarily bad,
it's
right? Not necessarily bad. Then we have NUP, of course, in opposition currently.
Cooperating in darkness.
But we see it's like the radical rift right now. Now, these parties heavily polarize the situation, especially during elections. Is this something that we need to fall behind? This is to you, Helen. Like, how do we approach elections and all these things, given that we have these parties that are not necessarily dealing with our generational issues, but we also have to participate in politics and agree on our minimum agendas?
You know, parties are the people in, not a building and not the name itself. So it is us, the young people, that are supposed to use the parties that we are in to advance our interests.
But are young people given space to participate?
So the young people, I continue saying it, are not supposed to be given space anywhere. They're supposed to look for space, fight for it, and occupy it. Find a space, fight for it, occupy the space. Nobody is going to come and pick you from your own home hope and tell you there's a position here, come and occupy it. No. Our role is to continue showing up and make sure we occupy this space.
So do you think the cooperation between DP, UPC, NRM is a good development for the young people? Because now at least you and him will not be fighting. You'll be talking issues like this, production, labor.
One thing I want to tell you is that wherever there has always been a problem, it is the young people that have been fronted as the solution oriented, as whatever case. So it is us, the young people, that must appreciate every effort that is put in front of us for a peaceful or for a settled environment, because that works for us as the young people. I want to start by informing that there is nothing that the DP has not tried doing, apparently. We've cooperated before with the opposition parties. I didn't actually see anybody talk about it. But we've cooperated with FDC before. We supported Kizza Besigye. We supported Amama Mbabazi in the
2016.
In 2016, we did not have a presidential candidate. We did the reunions, the UID reunions, because we wanted to bring back the politics of reason, of cooperating, and of showing a cause. But you know what resulted into that? Our party almost broke and went in two pieces. But we appreciate the fact that we had the able leadership then that managed to keep the party intact. So we must appreciate every other effort that every other person, every Ugandan puts on table. And it is for the good cause of the Ugandans. As to what we take it is sometimes it is about the perspective that you have in your mind.
Yes.
Your perspective will determine always what you think about something. But I appreciate the fact that for us as DP, our ideology, we are pro-people. And we shall always do anything that is going to help us towards the well-being of our people. We've tried the walk to work. You know, there was the walk to work.
Yes.
It did not yield.
2012.
Young people ended up in sales. There are people that are still in sales up to now. You know, the 2021 election, we've participated in all elections. The things have not changed. They've remained the same. So we are saying that we must try to use all the avenues available to bargain for what we believe we deserve. We are not saying that we are going to beg for it, but we're saying we must use every avenue available to bargain and to ask for what we deserve. Because as Ugandans, let me tell you that you cannot be in an island and you're not even listening to what is happening the other side, and you're just becoming an island alone. You cannot choose to be that. We are human beings, we are politicians, we are leaders. We must talk and discuss on where we want this country to go. All of us have directions as young people. As the young person in UID, I know and I have where I want this country to go. For my sake and for the sake of my people. Yes. And I believe the same applies to Nimrod, the same applies to Laban, the same applies to you. We all have a sense of direction to which we believe this country should go. But we're not going to talk this direction to ourselves alone. No. We must look out for people that are in positions and are able to take us to where we want to go. Because at the moment we must appreciate that whether the 2021 election was rigged, whether NRM won, it is the one in government.
But also, to be fair to DP, you're still the government. Every Ugandan is part of the government. You know.
That changed a long time. If you want to know that it's changed, go on ground. These are boardroom talks, and this is what is on paper, that government is people and people is government. It is not that. Government is the person who has power. Yes, because you can wake up and decide what is going to happen to your area tomorrow. Whether you will have water, whether you have basic needs or not. So that's changed. We have it as now as a narrative. So we must join hands together to direct this government, to direct our country on where we want to go. Because this ceases to be about Helen as an individual. It ceases to be about Laban or even a political party. It is about the Ugandan deep down there, who is running on the road in the election, supporting you, facing the darkness, the dust, and at the end of it, so you get into your V8 with an SE and drive off. So I think that should be our concern, really. You saw the people that died in the 2021 election. These were young people. So we must appreciate every other effort that every leader is putting in front. And I appreciate every other action. If the NUP thinks that going to the streets will change the government and bring about good policies that help the young people, well and good. Just go in front and do it. We see whether it will work. If DP appreciates that dialoguing with the NRM and informing them that you look, the young people down here, all Ugandans want this, is the best way to do it. Yes, we are going to do it. But at the end of it all, we should all look at the goal. The issue should be about
Helen,
the
you
goal
think in
and
the
cause.
NRM there are no people who can inform the government that this is what the people down there want? Do you think that the DP coming on board is going to inform, is more clever than the people that are in NRM?
Do you know why we are in opposition? To give alternatives to the government. We've been in opposition for quite some time. You know when DP was formed? We are making 60 years very soon.
Without power.
Yes.
So you don't want to
We
take
have
power.
had power before, but what am I trying to tell you?
Maybe if you inform us of the strategies that you've come with to ensure that what you're telling the government,
what is in the cooperation?
What is the cooperation? Which strategy that you're going to use to inform the government
to the youth?
That they are going to really pick up what you're telling them?
Allow me to say this, that we as DP believe that we've been here longer. And there is no circumstances we've not
but that's
seen.
not fair.
There is no circumstances we've not seen. There is no circumstances we've not gone through. There is nothing that is going to come and it is new in the political terrain of this country as a DP. And I'm proudly saying it. We have been here longer.
Where you are.
and we have seen these things
What
happen.
is in the
It is our time. It is our time.
Benefit the youth.
It is our time to take a step in front and
It
say,
is
look,
informing the
because
government
we've
of
been
what the
here,
youth wants.
we know these things have been happening and the solutions are here. Because we've been here longer, you people, you cannot underlook an eye of an elder in a community. You cannot.
So you took your eye to the NR.
So as people who have been here, allow us to lecture you people on politics, on policies, and on things that are going to move this country forward.
Comrade Helen, I want
It's
to...
not about who was first.
Comrade Helen, I want to...
Things are not all about who was first.
I want to bring... I want to...
Who came earlier.
Even you people will come and say that we are also the eye of the political
Comrades,
status in the country.
I want to bring on board Laban. On still political, you know, the roadmap is out. And one of the issues the youth face, I think, is political marginalization. In terms of you know, actively, like she described power, who chooses to do what, you know. But also other thing in terms of expression, we saw the issue that happened in 2020, November, I think, you know. And then even in terms of coverage for things like Fourth Estate, we saw what happened to the young people at FDC, you know, being beaten and all this. There's a limited space, it appears, for young people to engage, especially if you're engaging from the other side of the layer. They might have more space now. We don't know, or less space.
They do.
But how does a young person, you know, as young people, how do we approach this election? Because it's time to choose again what government is going to do for us for another 5 years.
Before I comment, I give my perspective on terms of political party participation. I wanted to, you know, I'm so much on the comrade. We have, I know, we have shared a lot. But there is a statement he talked, and I want to disagree with him on issues of government allocating. You said 100 billion?
For UPE.
To do what?
To enhance qualitative education.
Now, those 100 million,
Not
billion, that were allocated. At least I follow each session of Parliament. Budget, I never close my eyes. To me, I feel like may not do a great impact for the young people. One, the 100 billion that were allocated to increase the construction of CD schools in primary and secondary. But it was discovered, I'm giving you this information and it's reliable, but it was discovered that the money which was allocated, where they were going to construct those schools, the government has never secured the land titles for those land. So, you see, even the construction may not happen. So I wanted just to give you that information.
But you will find them accounting for that.
But they will account that maybe money went this.
But my argument was
even
clear.
They will
the money
account
was
for
allocated.
the buildings which are not there. You know how these people are spoiled.
No, you see,
We-
don't
we-
speak
we-
like this.
we'll get
This is
the
not
source.
a this is not a
Source of
border
the
stage
No, I'm telling
conversation.
you the truth, and you get the source. They will even account for the building which has never been accounted.
No, but don't take us to a border stage
But
conversation.
Let's
let's
proceed with the
But I just wanted to give you
electoral
information.
Reality turns into a border
Yes,
stage
let's leave that
conversation.
information. But you'll make research. So when we talk about you talked about the roadmap. I want to say that I'm one of the people, whether it doesn't favor us, the marginalized youth. Even by the you are even marginalized. Don't think that you are in cheat. You are marginalized. Me, I'm telling you. You should not stay in denial. You are marginalized. So we are together.
True.
He thought he left us.
No. In Uganda they say bakuwa bukunkumbuka.
Is it as freedom of speech?
Yes, of course. And it is hopefully, my brother, you don't take it personal.
I know,
Yes,
definitely.
yes.
I'm also marginalized.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I looked at the roadmap. You know, I happen to be a member of the National Youth Council, where I am a chairperson of the sub-county within Kampala, Makerere University sub-county, where I won an NRM candidate on ANT.
Democracy.
Yes, I won. Despite fights there and then. When I looked at the roadmap, the youth elections will start, the process will start next year.
2024.
Yes. And voting will be the mid of 2025. The structures from village, parish, sub-county, district up to the National Youth Council. That's where. Having participated in the previous elections of 2020, at least I observed whatever was happening within the youth elections.
Yes.
From the top up to even the youth. I participated in the elections of National Youth Council structure that were at Maya Central. I was there personally to observe. All youth regional MPs elections, I was there, I observed. And I must say that as the youth, in different political parties, whether you are NRM, whether you are UDP who is in a relationship with NRM, whether FDC,
which is in a relationship,
we should have a common goal to make sure that we have this hand, the governance of this country in our hands, because we are the majority. In some villages, previously, you'd find that even the young people are not aware that there is an election. Why they would do? RCC, RDCs come with a paper pick. This one, Nimrod, is from the prominent family of the NRA people who fought. Put him on the list. Put him on, which of course it was different from the some civilized youth in Kampala and Uganda. But in some villages, they were putting young people. And if we don't change the mindset, if we don't come into conclusion and we discuss issues, we are going to find out the things will be continuous over and over. That you have people, young people, the same people who are on the list, even some of them are 35 plus. They are the one who are taking up the youth positions because we don't get information. And you see, it is the duty of the government, the electoral commission, to sensitize the electoral commission, to sensitize the young people, take up all those. We cannot continue staying in denial.
Yes, our dear viewers, our time is fast spent, but we would like to get updates from and also call to actions from our very capable leaders that are here on the panel. And for that, I would give a minute to each just to say something in the light of the upcoming International Youth Day. I'll start from you, Hope.
Thank you. This year's theme is talking about green skills.
Yes.
So as the young leaders who are here, what are we going to do to ensure that we are contributing towards the sustainability of our mother nature? So as TASA, in collaboration with YALI, Uganda, we are commemorating the International World Youth Day with a tree planting and a climate conservation dialogue in Exodus Secondary School, Wakiso, to ensure that we start with the young ones and they grow with a mindset change. They grow knowing that it is their role as young people to preserve and conserve this environment. When we were growing, they told us that we are the young generation and we are the future leaders. But even the leaders we found are still there and they're not giving us space. When we come up to take the spaces, we are fought. But that was just a by the way. I call upon each and every youth on that day, kindly plant a tree. Find where you can put a tree. Find where you can conserve the environment.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you very much, Comrade Hope. Comrade Nimrod.
Yes, thank you. As a party, as a ruling government, for us, we don't wait actually for Youth Day to do things for the young people. We have always done things for the young people, and it's government. We always do things for the young people. But just in commemoration of this month, a number of activities are on board. And as a league, as an NRM league, the discussion is still going on. But one of them is we're going to have different visits to different farms. Demonstration farms to take the young people to learn
as the NRM Youth League.
As NRM Youth League, to learn about modern agriculture skills, so that we benefit also in line with the theme of a green environment. But lastly, since this is the last chance I have to speak, the Bible says in 1 Timothy 14:10 that young people don't look on yourself. Be the source of inspiration in ways of love, spiritual matters, discipline, and hard work. My call to the young people as we're going to celebrate this International Youth Day, please reflect on that. Go to your Bible and read about that. It tells us to inspire the world and be the hero. I thank you.
Thank you for that inspiring message. Comrade. And over to you, Helen.
I want to thank Civic Space and you, Aura, for moderating this show and continuing to have this space for young people to speak out. You know, our space as young people in terms of in the mainstream media and all platforms is really very shrunk, but we appreciate Civic Space and CCG that you continue having a platform for the young people to come and, you know, shine out and say something in regard to what they think our country should look like, because we as young people, we are the majority and we are the biggest stakeholders in this country now and in the time to come. So I want to appreciate you for having this show and always calling on us young people to come and be on this show, but also call on the young people out there to use this International Youth Day to light a torch and, you know, look at doing accountability on what you deserve, what you think the government should be doing, and where it has failed, so that at the end of it all, we are not looked at as sleeping dogs. We should be looked at as young people who are deserving, who know what we want, and who deserve what we want. Not that we are just there shouting at the government and not doing anything. So we should use this time to reflect and also ask for accountability from even our leaders. And our leaders should use this very day to remember that they should wake up. We sent them in these positions to represent us as young people and table something that is going to help our generation and even to help our country as a large. For UID members, we shall celebrate our day by going to Kasese to visit the young people there. We hope to visit the young people, especially in schools, to carry out a Stay in School campaign, because we believe that even the environment will not be sustainable enough without people that know what the environment is about, and without a sober generation. You know, ignorance is one of the biggest challenges that we face as a country. So we hope to do that in doing advocacy for the young people to stay in school and know how important it is to be an educated young person in the country. I want to thank you so much, and thank for our viewers for sparing time to watch this show and to add a leaf on what we feel the country should be.
Yeah, thank you very much, Comrade Helen. Finally, Mr. Comrade Lambert.
I want to appreciate the opportunity provided to me to come and discuss issues of the youth, particularly the topic which was centered on the International Day of the Youth. As I said before, that access to information is a fundamental right, not a privilege. I believe that one of the steps of giving back to the young people is sharing with them important information, because that is the only way they can change their lives. I will personally, because I don't have any resource to share with the young people.
What do you mean resource?
Resources to share with the young people to change their livelihoods. But I will just do advocacy. provide information. I have so many young people that I'm going to share with on that day. In terms of advocacy, because I feel like through advocacy, that is when we can change our lives.
Yes.
That's when we shall be able to identify opportunities and the challenges facing the young people. But lastly, also, you see, organizing this event, this topic of discussion, we have already contributed to the mindset, change of mindset of the young people.
Yeah, sure.
We have done a great contribution. There are so many people who are watching us who will not be the same from today. And it's because of the existence of the civic space. So we should, with great concern, appreciate most of the televisions, media houses. They don't provide opportunity for people, for the young people. Yet we are the majority. But here, there's a discussion weekly that focuses on the youth. What a great pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And it's been a great pleasure having you. Very inspiring as well to see the quality of debate, really good. Laban here, very active citizen, collecting information. I think that's the quality of opposition you need, and good to check government with facts and groundwork. So thank you very much. And to our dear viewers, let's keep working together, especially the youth. Let's stand together. This country is ours for the next 60 to 70 years, depending on how God blesses you. And we have to come together to make sure that it works for us, it works for our children. And it's a very important time, especially as we go into our productive lives, that the country functions. So that's the purpose of these discussions. I appreciate you. Watch the show, share it as much as possible, and stay with us for more episodes. It has been a pleasure hosting you. Thank you.